Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Maverick here with episode 3 of Darwin's game. So, anyways, the treasure hunt event has started, and Kaname and Shoka are in it, right? And I presume that by the end of this arc, or this event, Kaname is probably going to make even bigger of a name for himself, and also, he's probably going to get his second companion, right? In the form of the information broker slash analyst, whatever, that we saw in the previous episode here. So, I'm a little bit short on time, so let's just dive directly into the story right now. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. I'm a little bit short on time because I'm leaving back to visit my parents for Lunar New Year's. And that also means that I'm not going to be able to get episode 4 out in time. But, Yeah, one's already dead. Ooh, what? Wow! Mass brainwashing? Seriously? Who is the inventor of this game? So they basically just completely... They basically completely, like, sealed off this area. So anyways, we're at the opening, and I know that some of you guys want to sync up your own videos with me, so, I'll just leave it in. Normally I cut it out because I want to, just save some time, and really watching the same thing over and over again, there's not really much for me to talk about. But I guess we can sort of quickly recap the rules of this event that we gleaned from last time, right? So you have to get 3 rings, or was it called rings? Yeah, I believe they're called rings, which may or may not be the jewels that we saw at the very end there. Maybe 3 different jewels, which all have different points, which I assume can also be exchanged for the actual points in Darwin's game. So beyond that, they have to collect 3. They also need to stay within the designated area. If they go out of the area, then they automatically lose. And apparently there's going to be some new mechanisms that are only available for this event. I believe the usage of cameras? Mayo and I. Not lost anymore. Yeah. These. Are those the rings? Jewels, treasures, whatever. Right, player search doesn't work, but you can use camera. Okay, so the rings are the jewels. So just as long as you collect 3, you won't be in danger of game over. The alternate reality camera. Okay, good. At least they properly explained the rules this time. And normal modes of communication don't work. Oh, okay. The app chat. Hmm. Oh. Huh. Wow, it's it's using AR, augmented reality, to do this. Yeah, since... Wait, what? Actually, I'm surprised that he wasn't jumped already. I mean... Oh. This might be the other, Okay, never mind. Well, no shit, this is life and death, dude. You got pretty bad aim, dude. Yeah, that doesn't guarantee your safety. Why would he let you live? By eliminating opponents, that's more rings for you. Yeah.
にてめえは殺す価値ねえかもな。弾がもったいねえ。たまにいるんだよ、引き金引けねえ腰抜けがよ。心底つまらねえバトルだったぜ。あばよ、その辺でのたれ死にな。くしょう。そんなに殺し合いが楽しいのかよ。
It's not even fun. It's a matter of survival, dude.
リングが3個なければゲームを
There's 300 people with 300 rings.
このゲームは殺さなければ生き残れないんだ。
おや、もしやエレベーターに乗る気なんですか？
I mean, consider this. I get the whole entire, moral situation about this whole thing. Like, he doesn't want to kill people. Okay, fine. But has he considered the fact that if he continues on and wins
私もう中
in this treasure hunt, by participating in it, by actually getting other rings, he's still in an indirect way killing off 200 other people.
と出たいだけだ。それに今非常階段を
I don't know, man.
あなたはそれを見ても
To me, this sort of moral confliction doesn't really make sense.
なんだ俺は植物。
エレベーターが4機とも危険だと証明されたのは収穫ですね。
Oh, can you get the ring back?
確定です。ホテルにいるプレイヤーは完全に閉じ込められています。一人のプレイヤーのシギルでの攻撃によって。
たった一人でそんなことできるのかよ。さっきカメラで見たけど、このホテルには10人以上プレイヤーがいたぞ。
最初はおそらく24対1の構図でした。ただ、我々以外のプレイヤーが今も生き残っている確率はかなり低いですが、須藤要さん、あなたに一つ提案があります。袋のネズミ同士、ホテル脱出まで手を組みませんか？
どうして俺の名前を。
私はレイン。
Rain.
D ゲームではよく解析屋と言われているプレイヤーです。
さあ、イベント開始早々状況は目まぐるしく動いているぞ。今の順位を見て。
Okay, so it is sort of like
賞金1位は
a sort of battle royale kind of situation.
900ポイントゲットだ。驚異の腐敗記録は49でストップしたものの、その実力はやはり圧倒的。2位につけるは今回の大本命、ファーストステージの単勝オッズは
Betting for the rich and wealthy and whatnot.
クランエースのリーダー1。獲得リングは5個と主家に一歩及ばないが、クラン全体ではすでに18個と圧倒的。
Yeah,
これは俺の縄張りと言わんばかりの
clan warfare definitely seems the way to go in this game.
3位以下は混戦模様だが、どうやらスタートポイントの一つ、渋谷セントラルタワーで大きな動きがあったようだ。なんと植物によってタワーが完全封鎖。何者かの仕切る攻撃に間違いはなさそうだ。一体中のプレイヤーたちはどうなってしまうのか。
初めての方ね。どうかしら。
So in the end, it's just like one big betting game.
それが今到着したばかりでして、失礼ですがあなたは。
申し遅れました。私トリニティの支配人を務めております。
Trinity.
と申します。
ああ、あなたが。おっと、ここで面白いマッチアップが起こったぞ。ジャイロヘッズの4人がうまく主家を囲むことに成功したようだ。
Oh.
4対1が勝ち目あるって。囲め囲め。
It's like, die. Bye bye.
よし、捕らえた。完璧なタイミング。
たとえこれをかわしたって俺のシギルグリーディーミサイルはあらゆる飛翔体の軌道を操
So there are also combos as well.
リングのせいで位置がバレるから余計な邪魔が入りすぎ。要のいるタワーってあの大きいビルか。まあ、要なら一人だって楽勝だよね。もう10個ぐらいリング集めてたりして。
Well, about that.
瞬殺です。
This country's top ranker. So there are other countries of this game?
あの子は私のお気に入りなんです。強くて残酷で品があって、それに自分の力をよく使いこなしている。
しかしこの D ゲーム、特にシギリという存在は本当に不思議ですな。テミス様は主催よりカジノ運営の特権をいただいているとお伺いしておりますが、この不思議なゲームの正体についてはご存知なのですかな。
いいえ。ですがそのようなことどうでもいいのでは。この見られる大金とシギル、その圧倒的な優越感にプレイヤーの皆様は満足されてますもの。私たちの生きる社会は昔に比べはるかに豊かで平等になりました。そういった社会の中で人はかつてないほど
Wow.
他人を見下すことに飢えているんでしょう。
解析屋？
まあ、情報屋のようなものとお考えください。
I still don't get why, even for the rich and wealthy,
このまま
they would.
この男の仲間
You make it like it seems to be some sort of a game, but this is already in the realm of altering reality here. I feel like they would still be very, very concerned about all this, and not just looking at it as a game that they can gamble on, right?
それで追い詰められた者同士手を組もうって随分と俺を信用するじゃねえか。
私の商売は情報を売ることですから、あなたの情報についても把握済みです。須藤要、登録名が初期設定のままなのはソロで始めた初心者にありがちです。
No.
非好戦的な性格ながら上位のクラス相手に3連勝は特筆すべき成績と言えます。クランに入っていませんが、シュカとは同盟関係にあり、シギルは判然としませんが、拳銃とスタンガンを中空から取り出したことは確認していますです。
でも情報が古いぜ。もう3連勝じゃねえ。マシンガン野郎に完敗したばかりだよ。
バトルロイヤルモードでは個々の戦闘はノーカウン
Huh,
トで
so he's still undefeated right now.
終了時に生き残り全員に分配されます。
Oh.
やっぱり戦い損か。じゃあ逃げ回るのが一番いいってことだな。そりゃ覚悟の決まらねえ俺向きだわ。
何をふてくされているのか知りませんが、逃げ回って何が悪いんです。私はそうやって生き残ってきましたよ。
確かにそうだな。
何がおかしいんです。
いや、今まで戦闘狂みたいなのばっかりだったから少し驚いた。いいぜ、手を組もう。俺もここで死ぬつもりはないんでね。
それはよかった。ところで、あなたは笑いましたが、自然界において逃げるは戦うより生存戦略としてむしろ一般的です。 D ゲームでも判定勝負になった場合、危機回避は芸術点として評価されます。
Oh.
挑戦された
Okay.
人は大抵判定勝ちになります。
Challenge player who survived. I see.
ステルスという強力なシギルを持っていました。逃げる、あるいは待ち伏せするときにあれほど有用なシギルはなかなかありません。なのに自ら攻めたせいであなたに返り討ちにあったわけです。
そんなかっこいいもんじゃねえよ。逃げ回っていたら勝手に自爆しただけだ。俺は結局ダチも助けられなかった。生き残ったのは運が良かっただけだ。
確かにただの幸運かもしれませんが、一番必要なのは結局幸運かもしれませんよ。
ラッキーが最強ってか。
それに最初からあなたの前に転がっていたわけじゃないでしょう。
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I'm okay with trying to run away to survive or anything. It's when they try to, put some moral value into this is where I'm kind of iffy about this.
それで逃げ腰の二人はどうやってここからとんずらかりますよ。
まずは非常階段の
Like, in her case, in Rain's case, her entire thing is she believes that she isn't suited for conflict, so she wants to run, right? In Kaname's case, I feel like it's partly that he doesn't really want to,
部活に手を出さない
kill others, and that's the reason why he's running.
おっと。チェーンソーでもないと無理だな。
持ってませんですか。
持ってるわけあるか。
あなたのシギルならもしかすると思ったのですが。
そ そんな便利な力じゃないから、スタンガンと拳銃なら用意できる。それ以外はまあ当てにすんな。
そうですか。
ロープか何かで外壁を伝って降りるのはどうだ？
地上40階建てでベランダもない垂直な壁ですよ。どこまでも遠慮したいです。
じゃあホテルを探索。死体転がりすぎだろ。何人死んでるんだよ。
仮想界はもっとひどいですよ。
これ全部植物野郎がやったのか？
上層界の死体は別です。リングをめぐってプレイヤー同士が争ったのですよ。
リングを集めることが目的だろう。他のプレイヤーを殺す必要はねえじゃねえか。
But
死んだプレイヤーは
yeah, that's one thing, and they're still going to.
せっかく勝ち残ったやつ
I do. I'm.
とか世話ねえぜ。
We'll talk more about this at the end here.
正体を知っているというほどの情報はありませんです。誰も姿を目撃した者がいないのです。ただ、あの特徴的な死体を量産するプレイヤーは一人だけです。花屋。ただそう呼ばれています。姿を一切見せないことから、花屋は罠を張って獲物がかかるのを待つプレイヤーです。逆に言えば、上層界にいる限り当面安全だと思います。花屋に殺されたのはエレベーターに乗ったプレイヤーだけですから。
そっか。いや、花屋に殺されたのはエレベーターに乗ったやつだけって、どうしてそれが分かったんだよ。
エレベーターにだけツタに覆われた死体が。
だからなんでエレベーターの死体だけ例の人型アートになってないんだ。
確かに確認してませんけど、転送には数十秒から数分程度のラグがありますし。
嫌な予感しまくりだぜ。転送されないってことはあいつらまだ生きてるってことじゃねえ。くしょー、連中が揃ってこっちに来てる。
連中？倒れていたプレイヤーですか？生きていたとしても開始早々殺し合っていたような連中ですよ。まさか共同して攻めて。
知るか。どのみち友好的とは思えねえだろ。
右の柱の影。目を閉じて耳を塞いで。
They seem to be controlled in some way.
さっきの
Flashbang.
フラッシュバンです。逃げ線プレイヤー必須アイテムですよ。Dゲームのショップにダース単位で売ってますです。
Hmm. What? Security cams? Yeah. I mean, that's called having a plan and strategy. A little less guilty. Whatever. See you guys after this. Alrighty, so let's talk about this episode, right? And specifically, let's start with Kaname, because as you guys might see from my reaction so far, I really take big issue with his stance of, oh, I don't want to kill because I don't want violence and yada yada yada, right? You know, the reason why I dislike this so much is because even though he thinks he's taking the moral high ground here with this, by participating and in this event and getting rings, you are still going to be indirectly killing others, right? There's only 300 rings for 300 players. And by getting rings and denying other people the chance of getting the rings, they are still going to get game over. You are still going to, it's not all on you, of course. You still have the other 99 people to share this with you. Or sorry, not the other 99 people, but the other however many people who eventually got have 3 rings or more, which at max is 100 people here. You are still contributing in the killing of the other 200 people, right? Now, yes, I get it. This is only a first round. I would have presumed that there's going to be a second round and maybe third rounds of rings, which honestly, I think by design they should probably lower the amount each time the rounds give out. So 300 rings for this first round, maybe second round is 100, third round is 10 or 50 or something like that. That's actually quite an ingenious way to up the entertainment value of this. As we can see, this is a sort of like a Hunger Games situation where it's a spectacle and people can bet on it. Having this kind of system does drive conflict, and that drives the entertainment value up, drives betting up. That's ingenious. But let's not talk about that right here. Let's just assume, because I think we can fairly assume that there's not going to be, for instance, 900 rings in total, so that every single person has a fair chance to get 3 rings, right? This is obviously not that kind of situation. So, like, let's think about it in this way. Let's say that there was absolutely no violence involved, right? It was simply a race to see who could get however many rings that you can. And if you don't get at least 3 rings or not, you game over, right? So no weapons, no violence, you can't hit other people or whatnot. You rely purely on your speed. Does that mean that just because of this you are not killing the others? You still are. By racing them, by getting to the rings faster than your other opponents are, you're still going to make them die at the very end, right? You're still going to be the one who survives, and they're going to be the one who dies. That's still the same as killing. So I really don't get this. If, for instance, you would say, okay, so this is simply just fear because he's never handled a weapon before and he's only a student. Okay, fine, I can get that, right? If you get hesitation pulling a trigger when you are, say, for instance, in an advantageous position, like you ambush somebody and so they're unarmed or whatnot, and you can't pull the trigger or something like that. I get it, right? We inherently think that killing is wrong. That's one thing. However, if it's in a life and death situation such as Kaname was facing and he still couldn't make up his mind, I don't know, man. Like, nobody is saying it has to be fun, right? He seemed to be under this impression that okay, all these other bastards, why do they think killing each other is fun or whatnot? Nobody's saying it's fun. You do it to survive, man. Like, I would have enjoyed this much more if instead the thing that was driving Kaname was, his driving force is to survive, right? So, and okay, fine, that's part of his driving force right now. He doesn't want to die in this stupid game, as he said, because of his promise to his friend and whatnot. So, I do want to know, when it comes down to it, if in order to kill to survive versus killing, which one will he be able to choose, right? Because as of right now, with what he faced with this machine gun wielding opponent, it seems that he's chosen to not kill over survival, right? So I don't know, man. It's not really my type of character that I like to. It's just. I feel like this thought process is just illogical to me, right? And honestly, the big guy, the machine gun wielding opponent, he was also an idiot for letting Kaname go, right? Because let's think about it. He's clearly prepared to kill. He's killed before, and so even if Kaname isn't capable of violence, right? So he thinks that he's a wimp and whatnot, and he's not a big threat. At the same time, he could still run around. Kaname could still be running around collecting rings, which would mean less ring for that machine gun wielding guy, right? So honestly, I feel like what should have happened, considering the situation, considering the setting, considering their overall personalities and whatnot, Kaname should be dead. That's just it. And the fact that he survived is, to me, a sort of literary cop-out. And I highly dislike this kind of thing because it really makes no sense. Sparing him made absolutely no sense at all. I would have preferred it much more if, say for instance, he was still on the verge of killing him, but say for instance he moved a little bit too close to the elevator or whatnot, and so he accidentally spun a trap that was being done by the plant wielder, right? And so that was why he became disabled and was not able to pull the trigger in the end to kill Kaname. That would have made much more sense to me than right here where he just willingly spared him. Like, no. And don't get me wrong, please. It's not that I'm saying he has to fight. I don't mind if Kaname runs, right? Like Rain here. Like, she is doing something similar to it, but I don't have... Like, there's no harm in running, right? I feel like running would be a viable strategy, particularly if you don't think that you are combat suited. Maybe your abilities or your mental mindset or whatever, you're just not suited for it, right? But when you're coming down to a situation of life and death, as he was right there, and you're still refusing to pull the trigger because of some moral value that you think you're not killing people, I think that's moral hypocrisy. He's a hypocrite, basically. I think that pulling the trigger directly versus gathering rings and allowing other people to die, there's no difference there. I'm sorry. In my mind, that is the same thing. Alright, so, okay, I think I spent a little bit too much on that part, but I'm very vocal about this because I really dislike main characters that exhibit some sort of moral high grounds, and when in reality, it's not that case at all. But, I mean... I guess we'll just see, right, in the future if he's going to be continuing to be developed more. Now, one other thing I'd like to mention is the sort of, Hunger Games situation that we have here, where rich and wealthy are onlooking the game and betting on it, and it's for their entertainment value, right? I mean, we've all seen this type of setting before. With that being said, however, I don't think it really makes sense in this context, because this game, it's not a case where they're being dropped on an island and then, most of the items or whatnot are still, there's still a sense of realism to it, right? We're clearly in a situation where things such as sigils and whatnot, they're bending the rules of reality already, right? So I think... if think about it, if you were a person of the rich and wealthy and you were given an opportunity to, say for instance, participate in the spectating of this kind of event, I don't think you would be entertained. In your mind, you're probably thinking, okay, how do I get these powers without playing the game, right? Because come on, these are some pretty awesome powers, and honestly, these are stuff that's going to completely, it's going to completely unravel the very fabric of our current society. Modern society would be completely changed if these powers were widespread, etc., etc., right? So, I don't know, man. To me, this doesn't really make sense that there's this bunch of rich and wealthy people who are just here to say, oh, yeah, this is a pretty cool game, and I want to bet on this, I want to spectate on this, and for my entertainment value. Like, no. Any normal, sane person would see a problem with this situation here. So, unless, of course, in the end, it's an entire situation where they actually are in a simulation of some sorts. So, in the end, it is actually just a virtual game, a virtual reality game, or some sort of game system, and that's not actually affecting the reality. Then, in that situation, I would see this makes sense, right? So, I'm rooting for it to actually be that kind of situation. That would make... it would make the story flow a lot more coherently, and I don't have to, suspend my disbelief on how these people could, be so, like, come on, it's rich and wealthy, as much as people like to hate on them and whatnot, they're not dumb, right? They're not stupid. Like I said, if they were really in this kind of position to be able to be a part of this privileged group and whatnot, they'd be definitely thinking of something of much more than just simply, oh, hey, that's a pretty cool spectator sport that you have there, right? So, hopefully we can get some more information and a better fleshing out of the world on that part as well. So there we go, that was episode 3 of Darwin's Game. Episode 4 will be a little bit delayed. I am going to be visiting my parents for Lunar New Year, so sorry for that, but I'll try to get it out as soon as possible once I get back. So, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.